On today's episode, I'm actually going to be talking to you about how to start a small business at home. So, if this is your first time watching me, I am Trina Boyd. I am the founder of an organization called Women in Power. Women in Power is a nonprofit organization, which is a national organization that helps women network within our community. We also help women start, scale, and grow their business through grant writing, business credit, and government contracting. One of the things I specialize is helping women secure their first grant for their business. And I do want to mention that I am actually launching a book. I would like to invite you all out to my grand opening. If you're not local here in North Carolina, I can also invite you to my virtual meeting, which is going to be a hybrid. It's going to be in person, but it's also going to be online. All right. So I just want to get that out the way. If you are watching my channel or wherever you're watching this from, then I primarily talk about business. Like I talk about business, government contracts, grants, business credit, strategies to help you scale, whatever it is that you're looking for. All right. So if you may or may not know my story, but I would say over 10 years ago, I was fired from my job. Over 10 years ago, I was fired from my job. And I really did not want to work for anyone ever again after that. That was like a really hard, like horrific experience because I didn't do anything to get fired. But I just moved really. I moved from one state to the next. I moved from South Carolina to Georgia, and that's what got me fired. So after that, I was like, I don't want to work for anyone anymore, especially because I wasn't making a lot of money, and then also they were controlling my time for my children. So I was just like, I don't want to do it. And then I thought about it. I was like, really trying to figure out what I wanted to do from home, like how to work from home, how to start a business at home because I had at that time two children. And believe it or not, I was a single mother at that time. I had just left my ex-husband and that's when I had got fired, y'all. Like as soon as I left left my ex-husband, that's when I was fired. So I was just like, what can I do to start a business from home? So this is, if you're trying to figure this out, you have to really think about what it is that you like to do. What is your passion? So at that time it was children. So I was like, I'm going to start I'm going to start babysitting from home. And this was over 10 years ago. And that's what I decided to do. Believe it or not, some of the stuff I knew. So this is one of the reasons God called me to women because I made a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes and I'm very transparent about that. But one of the things God allowed me through the years of being, entrepreneur, small business, he allowed me to make those mistakes to help somebody else. So when I started my at home babysitting / home daycare, I actually did get an EIN number. So I highly encourage you to get that. That's completely free. That's what I did know to do was to get an EIN number. One of the things I love to do is research. So that's what came up is I needed an EIN number to make one of the things to make your business legit. If you're trying to figure out, how to what entity to start. I started off as a sole proprietorship, but of course I was trying to make sure my mic is on. I don't think it's on. But of course, I was that's what I'm saying. I was a new business, and I didn't know pretty much anything. So I was like, the easiest, and from my research, the easiest, cheapest way to get legal was a sole proprietorship. Even dealing with children, like you definitely want to do that. Don't want to do that now, but I was like, this is the easiest and free way. I didn't have to do an LLC. I didn't have to spend money on that. But so I did that. I did a sole proprietorship. I got my EIN number and I was good to go. But of course, there were other things I needed to learn. So I highly encourage you to do the same thing, is research. Another thing I learned is that when I was doing my babysitting slash home daycare, that you could not, the HOA did not allow you to have a bit daycare in the community. This is one of the reasons I don't like Georgia. It's like they be trying to stop you from doing a lot of stuff. Um, and I was in Atlanta at this time. But Atlanta was it's not Atlanta, it was just the state of Georgia. Atlanta was good. It's just it was the state of Georgia. Um, but they wouldn't allow the HOA would not allow you to do a home daycare, which I didn't know this. I didn't even know it was a HOA because I was renting my home at the time. So, come to find out, because I had someone else there with the children while I was doing other things, because I had, I was opening up an actual center. I was opening up a center. Glory to God. And I needed help. So that's when I got help. And then the young lady who was helping me allowed the children just to run crazy. So, and my neighbor saw and they reported it. But I did not know. So this is one of the things you want to make sure when you're opening up stuff, is making sure that you can operate. So that's another reason I just was like, hey, I need to get a building. I need to expand, because I had a whole bunch of kids. And I was just like, hey, I need to do what I got to do. So then I went to, as when I got my building, I had to get it licensed. So that's another thing. If you are trying to open start a business from home, you may have to have a license. So like in the state of North Carolina, you don't have to have a business license. So it's different licenses that you may have to get depending on what type of business that you're starting, right? So for daycares, you would have to get the daycare license. I know that, like for any, wherever you're at, you have to get a license for the daycare or the home daycare. So that's that, right? But you also, some states, you have to have a business license. So the business license, they come out and do an inspection of where you're at, and you get a business license. So that's on the local level, where they want to make sure they're getting their tax money. So you just want to make sure, even if you're at home, because it's not a funny story, but Georgia, again, dealing with Georgia, I started this was before God delivered me from everything. I started a nightclub. And it wasn't from home, but the reason I'm telling you this story, because it's leading up to something, right? I started that, and then I got some licenses. Like, I got the most important license, which was the liquor license, right? Because that's where you make your money at that time. But of course, I'm not into that. If y'all don't know my story, make sure y'all find out about my story. But I'm telling you all this to say that's was the most important license I got. But the only license that I did not get was the business license. So I did not get a business license, y'all. And I opened this establishment. And the people knew about, because it was a small town when I opened up this nightclub, and they found out. And so what they did was they came to one night when I did my grand opening. They came. I think it was a private party actually at that time. But they came and they raided the place for a business license. Okay. And then also, I think the liquor license was actually pending. So I said all this to say is just making sure that you have these things in place, because after that, it went on the news and everything. And this one young lady came in there, and I'm saying this to say, she came in there and she was like, I work from home. Do I need a business license? And this is after this went on the news and everything, because she didn't want to go to jail, basically, for not having a business license. But a lot of people just start coming up there to the city and was, trying to get licensing, even if they were working from home. I think she was sewing, and that's more so like a hobby. But she was just like, I want to make sure. And I want you to make sure too, because a lot of states do require you to have a business license and you don't want to operate illegally. And then after that, I moved to North Carolina. And North Carolina initially required you to have a business license. Now they don't, which is a good thing. I don't know who eliminated the business license tax. It wasn't a lot anyway. But you don't have to have a business license to operate in the state of North Carolina anymore as of 2014. So that's a good thing. So if you're looking to start a business from home, I'm saying, giving you all these stories for a reason, just to make sure that you are operating legally. If you are a new business and you say, hey, I don't have the money to get an LLC, I don't have this or I don't have that, just making sure that you do the sole proprietorship, because with the sole proprietorship, you don't have to have so with the sole proprietorship, you don't have to have an LLC, you're a sole proprietorship. That's the easiest way. And then also making sure that you have a license. So making sure that you have a license to operate. So this is how you start, making sure you're passionate about something and do those couple things. And that is it. So if you enjoyed this information I'm giving you, make sure you are subscribed to my channel. I'm posting videos every single day that will help you, educate you on grants, startups, business credit, government contracts. Thank you all for watching and have a great rest of your day.